Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the story of a man who is arguably the greatest military commander you've probably never heard of. He wasn't a king, he wasn't born into nobility, but he conquered more territory than Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, or Napoleon. We're talking about Subutai, the valiant general of the Mongol Empire. So, who was this guy? Subutai was born around 1176, not in a palace, but into the family of a humble blacksmith. In a world where your birth often determined your destiny, Subutai's story is a testament to pure talent and merit. He joined a young Temujin, the man who would become Genghis Khan, and quickly proved his worth. Genghis Khan had an incredible eye for talent, and he saw something special in Subutai. He wasn't just a fierce warrior. He was a strategic genius, a master of gathering intelligence, and a loyal commander. Subutai's rise was meteoric, became one of Genghis Khan's most trusted generals, one of the legendary Four Hounds. His early campaigns were crucial in unifying the Mongol tribes and then turning that unified force outwards to build an empire. He played a key role in the long and brutal war against the powerful Jin dynasty in China. Learning and adapting to siege warfare, a skill that would become devastatingly effective in the years to come. But it was during the Great Western Campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire, what is now Central Asia, that Subutai's genius truly began to shine on the world stage. Alongside another famous general, Jebe, he led a reconnaissance in force that has become the stuff of legend. This wasn't just a raid, it was a multi-year, thousands of miles-long expedition that circled the Caspian Sea. Imagine this. Two Mongol generals, leading a force of just 20,000 horsemen, ride through Persia into the Caucasus Mountains and onto the steppes of Eastern Europe. Along the way, they defeat army after army, including a massive coalition of Rus princes and their Kipchak allies at the Battle of the Kalka River in 1223. How did they do it? Subutai employed one of his signature tactics, the feigned retreat. He lured the overconfident Rus Kipchak army into a week-long chase, stretching their lines and exhausting them before turning around and utterly crushing them. This single battle sent shockwaves through Europe, a terrifying preview of what was to come. After Genghis Khan's death, Subutai continued to serve his successor, Ögedei Khan, and trusted him with the most ambitious campaign the Mongols had ever attempted, the full-scale invasion of Europe. This wasn't just a raid, it was a meticulously planned conquest. Subutai, now in his 60s, was the mastermind, the commander-in-chief of this colossal undertaking. His plan was a masterclass in military coordination. The winter of 1236, the Mongol horde, a force of perhaps 150,000 men, moved with terrifying speed and precision. They used frozen rivers as highways, sweeping through Volga, Bulgaria, and the principalities of Rus. Cities like Ryazan and Vladimir were besieged and sacked with brutal efficiency. Subutai's intelligence network was second to none. He knew the political landscape, the terrain, and the military strength of his enemies better than they knew it themselves. By 1241, the Mongol storm was ready to break upon the heart of Europe. Subutai divided his army into multiple columns to strike simultaneously, preventing his enemies from uniting against him. One prong of the attack smashed through Poland, defeating a combined force of Poles and Teutonic Knights at the Battle of Legnica. But the main event, the decisive blow, was aimed at the Kingdom of Hungary, a major European power at the time. At the Battle of Mohi, in April 1241, Subutai faced a massive Hungarian army led by King Belafor. The Hungarians had fortified themselves in a wagon laager, a defensive position they believed was impregnable. Subutai surrounded their camp, and for a moment it seemed like a stalemate, but this was all part of the plan. Subutai deliberately left a gap in his encirclement, an obvious escape route. As the Mongols bombarded their camp with catapults and arrows, panic set in among the Hungarians. Seeing the gap, they broke formation and fled, thinking they were escaping to safety. But it was a trap. The escape route was a carefully prepared killing ground. For 2 days, Mongol light cavalry pursued and slaughtered the fleeing Hungarian army. The victory was total, one of the most decisive in military history. The path to Vienna and the rest of Europe lay wide open. The continent held its breath, expecting the end. And then, just as they seemed poised to conquer all of Christendom, the Mongols turned back. Why? The great Khan, Ögedei, had died back in Mongolia. According to Mongol law, all princes of the bloodline had to return to the capital to elect a new leader. A succession crisis, not a European army, was what saved Europe. Subedei, a professional soldier to the end, obeyed the order and led his undefeated army back east. So what made Subedei so unstoppable? He was a true innovator. He mastered combined arms tactics, using heavy and light cavalry, engineers, and siege weapons in perfect harmony. His emphasis on deep reconnaissance meant he rarely entered a battle without a massive intelligence advantage. He perfected the art of multi-pronged, simultaneous attacks over vast distances, confusing and overwhelming his opponents. His campaigns were symphonies of movement, deception, and brutal, decisive action. Over his incredible career, Subutai commanded in over 20 major campaigns, won more than 60 battles, and conquered or overran 32 different nations. He is the only general in history known to have campaigned from the Korean peninsula all the way to the plains of Hungary. He wasn't just Genghis Khan's sword. He was the strategic brain behind much of the empire's expansion. After returning from Europe, the aging warrior served one last campaign in China before retiring. He passed away around the year 1248, a blacksmith's son who had redrawn the map of the world. His legacy is immense. His campaigns are still studied today in military academies, a blueprint for mobile warfare and strategic planning. While Genghis Khan is the name everyone remembers, it was Subutai, his indispensable general, who so often turned the Khan's vision of a world empire into a terrifying reality. Thank you so much for watching. What an incredible story of strategy and conquest. If you enjoyed this deep dive into military history, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see us cover next. See you in the next one.